So we've made it, my friends. WrestleMania 41 is in the books. And like many a WrestleMania in Vegas, some people have got a bit nuts. And we are going to go through the whole thing, of course. Again, please excuse my voice. Please excuse the fact that I'm in this weird hotel room. I am in Vegas, and I was at the show. And I suppose we'll begin at the start, because actually, if we want to talk about it from beginning to end, you could actually say the best part of the whole show, in WrestleMania 41 Part 2 anyway, was the open between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. I mean, I saw a few people, and I think I do agree with this, there's no two ways about it, call this one of the best opening WrestleMania matches of all time. When you say it to me, the one I always think of is Bret Hart versus Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10, and it absolutely is up there. I mean, it was just so good. And I love the fact that night one ended with a very story-driven narrative triple threat match, which you have to do in WWE, because it's what we all love. But then you start off night two, or day two, whatever the hell we're calling it, with just banger triple threat. Like, how would you even describe this to someone? It was just go, 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 go. You do a move, I do a move. But it was so intrinsically put together, and it was so well worked. You wouldn't be able to get away with this if you didn't have three people that had the talent that these three do. Like, it's absolutely next level. I think CM Punk said in an interview that he believed that this was capable of main eventing one of the shows. Absolutely. That is the level of quality they brought us. And also it had the Jeopardy. So even though the build has been a little bit wishy-washy, although I've enjoyed it because some of it's been silly, and I enjoy silly, I think I've been saying this to you too, that a lot of matches at WrestleMania 41 were going to be destination matches, got it right, and not journey matches, and this is absolutely one of them. You should watch this match. If you don't watch this match, you are missing out. But yeah, any single one of them could have won. Not really sure why Bianca Belair's been getting so many boos, but she just leaned into it so well here when she was like, kissing her ass and the way she was looking at some of the fans. And Sky's facial expressions are so big, and Rhea Ripley is just the absolute best. She's a super duper whooper star, the way she carries herself, and her entrance felt massively big time. Well, they all did. I would love to see this redone again. And I'm hoping to think that Triple H, when he did put it together, was like, I have so much faith in what you're going to be able to do. But Io Sky does the moonsault off the top, and I believe she pinned Bianca Belair, but she crushed both of them after we'd seen a KOD. Just go watch my video first, obviously, because otherwise, what am I doing? I'll be a sad panda. But I don't want to sit there and go, it did this, it did that. It's just one of the very best WrestleMania matches, especially of the modern era. And now we need to figure out, maybe we go into a Bianca Belair Ripley feud and we find somebody else from Io Sky, but it should always be these three doing something until the end of time. And maybe there is something in Bianca Belair being more of a heel, because she was acting more heelish, and surprise, surprise, she was able to do it, because Bianca Belair is able to do anything. And it was super nice that Io Sky won. I mean, while I could have believed, it would have been totally crazy that she did get the victory, I was certainly leaning towards being Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley. So the fact we did that meant it was a surprise, and it's Io Sky, man. It's not like that's a bad thing. And we saw so many title changes throughout the 2 days. It was good that we picked a couple. It was both women's matches, right? Because Tiffany held on to hers and Io Sky held on to hers as well. But I mean, it was terrific. It was so good. And in terms of just work rate, use that term, match of the night. Maybe the match of the 2 nights, which makes me feel like a bald a-hole, because I did say I thought it had the potential to steal the show, and the show was stole. Like, just, I cannot praise it enough. That's how good it was. And I haven't watched it back on TV yet, but that's what I know I've watched a good match live, because I get excited. What's it going to be like with the commentary? What's it going to be like when you can hear the crowd sort of mic'd a little bit better? And there are just certain distractions. They're good distractions when you do see it live, but how is this going to work? But yeah, I mean, 5 stars, 10 stars, 422 stars. It was so damn good, and it's inspiring. If you're an upcoming wrestler, you should watch this, you should study it, and you should steal as much of their stuff as possible, because that's how good it was. And it was the same with Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre in the Sin City Street fight. I think WWE probably realized that this opener may be an absolute banger, so let's just have 2 big dudes smack each other with weapons. And Damian Priest may have won the entrance game for WrestleMania. Is that true? I don't know. I mean, John Cena would be up there, CM Punk would be up there. But he came out with Kerry King playing his theme song, essentially went to the ring with Slayer, the way he carried himself, the smoke. Damian Priest is just a dude. I think I tweeted that out, Simon316 cheap plug. And please subscribe and like, and check out my ups and downs, of course, for both nights of WrestleMania that we did live here in the Luxor Hotel. That was awesome. And Drew McIntyre is the best too. Drew McIntyre did one of his tweets, still bored at work. Last time I checked, that done like 220,000 likes, so he's doing pretty well on that old social media. But it was just the level of intent. That doesn't make sense. Sounds like I'm about to go to court with a lawyer case. But the Future Shock DDT Drew McIntyre did on Damian Priest is the one that I'll keep going to, onto Simba the Steel Steps. Not really sure they tried to protect Damian Priest's head. It made an almighty clunk, but otherwise, it was just all the things that we're doing, and the back and forth was great. And the finish was absolutely horrendous, because Drew set the chair up in the corner and he just claymored Damian Priest's head right into it. And again, I don't think he held back here. I think these two had decided, if we are going to not only follow the first match, but the second match of Mania can be super duper hard. I mean, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho at 34, or whatever the hell it was, they were the second, and it was one of the reasons Chris Jericho decided, well, I don't want to be here, because he thought it was such a lame spot on the WrestleMania card, but Drew and Damian Priest made it work. Drew McIntyre does win, and given the lay of the land, I think he may be going into a feud with Cody Rhodes. I don't know. I don't think Randy Orton's going to be involved in that. And I sort of have a feeling that eventually, at one point in time, because obviously plans change, this was probably going to be for a championship of some sort, but now that it's not, but it's still a good feud. And Damian Priest doesn't feel lessened to me at all. That was my worry here. So how do we do it? Do we come up with something crazy? But I mean, Damian Priest was grabbing Drew off the top rope, off the turnbuckle, and giving him razor's edges through tables. Also, and this really did kind of lead to the finish in many ways, when he was going for old school, his big clothesline off the top, Drew McIntyre pushed Damian Priest off, and he crashed through 2 tables on the outside. Have you seen Damian Priest? He is a massive, massive man. But Damian Priest has something for me where I don't want this to happen. As long as it was done in the right way, he could lose, and I would not lose my fanship for him, which is not a word, I've just made it up. But he's just arrived at a certain level where he just feels like a cool guy, as I've already said. When you like somebody in that guy, it's like when you're a kid and you see the cool person, man, I want to be their friend. Damian Priest has that. And Drew McIntyre is just operating on his own special level at the moment. He totally gets it. He totally understands his character. Had a cool entrance too. It probably was tie-in, I'd imagine, for an advert, because Doom Guy was there. But what an amazing time he's had. Imagine either of these guys being told, right, you're going to come out to Slayer and you get to pretend to be Doom Guy. These are basically my dreams. And we are going to talk about those kind of things, or dreams, I should say, later. But yeah, Drew wins after that crazy Claymore. I don't know what we do with Damian Priest. I mean, he is a SmackDown guy, and Drew is on SmackDown, but I can imagine Cody and Drew having a thing. And maybe Malachi Black, or Aleister Black, I presume he will be back in WWE feuds with Damian Priest. I couldn't really place him, but I can see Aleister Black coming back as not necessarily a bad guy, but he fits into that very strange space where he can be kind of whatever you want him to be, as long as you don't lock him into a room. By this point, it was 2 for 2. I just sat there and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm having a lovely time. As a point of wrestling, you're meant to enjoy yourself. Third match was the 4-way for the Intercontinental title. Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor versus Penta versus Bron Breakker. Don't care about anything else that we did here, because Dominic Mysterio pinned Finn Balor to win that championship, basically breaking up the Judgment Day 2. You have never heard a pop like it. And that's why I want to focus more on that moment, when wrestling is all about moments, than maybe anything else. Because it goes to show that Dominic, since he debuted in 2020, has done such good work over the last half a decade by being such an asshole that these fans are like, you know what, we'd love to see him get something for entertaining us, for rewarding his hard work, for rewarding everything that he has done. And because eventually he was going to go, he got the 619 on Braun, and then he was going to run up the top. He did run up the top rope, going for the frog splash. Finn Balor got revenge on him because they'd already been fighting, crotched him. He went for the stomp, and when he went for the stomp, the coup de grace, obviously he did nail it onto Bron Breakker. Off comes Dominic, he hits the frog splash. Basically, it was the same finish as the first match, but when something's executed well, who the flub cares? And he gets the 1, 2, 3, and he became the IC champion. So you protected Penta, who got thrown on the outside. You protected Bron Breakker because he was getting smashed. And it's a shame that we had to pin Finn Balor, but it does make sense from a storyline perspective. So it was just, I mean, not only was it a really well-worked 4-way, and I appreciate the fact that it wasn't just you two guys go 2 on the outside, somebody comes in, somebody goes on the outside. Like, we had Bron Breakker basically doing every single double team move imaginable, and then Penta was hitting Canadian Destroyers. It was just so much fun to watch, and I think maybe there was more of a pace tonight too. And it just worked so well, because the opener was super, super fast. The second one wasn't slow, but it had a real purpose to it. Then we moved to the third match, they turned it up a gear again. So, well, this is the greatest thing ever. I'm having such a good time, and it ticked a lot of boxes. And it's another match you should probably go out of your way to see. I mean, now Bron Breakker could potentially go after a world championship. I can see Dom and Penta having a feud, with Finn Balor involved in that as well. I mean, Finn versus Dom has to be the thing. And Dominic hasn't really mentioned if they're going to add new members to the Judgment Day, but this has to be the big separoo. And maybe we even drop the name, and I guess Finn Balor is staying heel if these are the reactions that Dominic is going to get. We're going to have to give it 6 weeks and see where he is. But it was so well thought out. It was so well pitched, again, so well executed. There's that magic word. And a year ago, I never thought that Dominic Mysterio would get a massive ovation like this, but he's earned it. And that's why it's so good. We all know when someone is that good, that entertaining, and you see them improve at the rate that he did, you want them to get something back. It's like when John Cena returned a couple of years ago properly. Everyone hated him in like 2016-17, but we missed him. They're like, oh, you know what? I just want to give you the flowers. So honestly, by this stage, it was just awesome. 3 great matches. WrestleMania was cooking. We got to match 4, and some of these may be out of order. You have to forgive me. My brain's all over the place. I have never experienced this watching wrestling, because Randy Orton comes out. He is going to, talk about his open challenge. And I had convinced myself it was going to be Rusev, mostly because of social media and the dirt sheets. And also probably there was a part of me that wanted it. I'm a huge Rusev fan. So when Joe Hendry's music hit, which to me is somebody I faced at TNA in a pay-per-view in October 2023, you know, I have a relationship with him. I've known him for years. I consider him a friend for sure. Breaking kayfabe, I should do that, forgive me. And I worked for his Discovery promotion like 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. And check them out. It's a really good wrestling promotion. So to see him come out and in one calendar year, debut as a surprise in the Royal Rumble, and debut as a surprise at WrestleMania. I said this on my Twitter again at simonmillermedia316. I said this on the What Culture Ups and Downs video, WrestleMania Part 2. Make sure you check it out. I'm going to say it to you here as well. You may know that I wrestle in my real life. I've been doing it for the last 7 years or so. I've had a nice run with the Progress Pro Team Championship, which I did lose out here in Vegas to Paul Walterhauser. What a crazy world. So there has been progression, and I do feel like I've improved. But now it's time to try and take it to that level as well. We don't know if it is or isn't going to happen. We're going to manifest it, and we're going to be far more on the nose. I'm not saying I'm not going to be humble. I'm a big fan of humility. But just tell people what I want. The reason I wanted to tell you this is because need you to help me, right? We have to mobilize this stuff and get the message out there to the world. But I also wanted to point out how it affected me. I was like, that's Joe Hendry, who has helped me out throughout my wrestling career, who again I saw wrestle in small towns here, there, and everywhere. I mean, he's worked incredibly hard for it. And I won't take people saying that he doesn't deserve it. I understand there's a contingent of people on the internet that don't think much of Joe Hendry's in-ring ability. I think that is completely ignoring the total package of Joe Hendry and also being way too disparaging about what he can do, because he had a super fun match with Randy Orton. He totally gets it. The spin, the RKO, then Randy Orton doing it. He was never going to win. He's still got a little bit of offense in there. But I always, you know my deal, I'm annoying, I get it. But I always like to think about the human side. And can you imagine the feeling he must have had in his tum-tum and his tootsie toes when he was stood behind that WrestleMania entrance? The doors were opening, then his music hit. I was stunned into silence, and not in a bad way, not, I can't believe it. And you're allowed to think that, of course, but I still think some people cross the line and make it mean. But he must have just had the best feeling in the world. And I was stunned. Again, I had no emotion. It took so long to catch up with me. It's like, there's my boy Joe. It's like, I'm taking any kind of credit for it. No, I did absolutely nothing. It's all that guy, and 1,000 people will tell you that. And off the back of the Royal Rumble, and already his numbers on social media, and this, I think he's probably going to be there for a while, and good for him. I just thought it was a real fun WrestleMania thing to do. I like it when you get a short match in the middle of the card. And even though this wasn't the plan, because obviously Paul Kevin Owens couldn't wrestle again, all the love to that guy. I hope he's doing all right. It just made it feel more pacey and more fun and more variable. And you should do that in all wrestling shows. This was really incredible stuff. And I think it should be inspiring stuff too. And once again, to repeat what I said earlier, if you're a wrestler, it goes to show you just got to believe. Work on your craft, get better, come up with interesting stuff, make a name for yourself. That's what I'm going to try and do. I'm blessed to have this platform. So let's try and use that word again, mobilize it to see what we can do. When we did move into, I can't remember if it was the tag match and then AJ Styles. I think AJ Styles versus Logan Paul was first. This would be my first, I will go with disappointment, which is a bit strong, because AJ Styles can't have a bad match. And Logan Paul is a great professional wrestler at what he does. The Logan Paul approach to wrestling works. It ticks the boxes, incredibly athletic. But it just felt like there was something missing here to me. Sometimes it's an intangible thing. You don't know. It's just like, I'm not really clicking with this for one reason or another. It wasn't bad. Logan was very good. AJ Styles was very good. The Karrion Kross stuff was excellent. Karrion pops up to stop Logan Paul's manager, whatever the hell we call him, using the brass knucks. But then AJ Styles punches him in the face after Karrion's not been very nice to him. Now, if we've done that because we're going into a Karrion Kross AJ Styles feud, which we have hinted at for the last few weeks, and we do double down on that, probably because Logan Paul's going to go away again, I think it could be really good. But Logan Paul then hitting the punch, and I think he got buckshot just before that as well, and then hitting his pulverizer for the 3. I mean, of course we're going to have mixed emotions about this, because I'm a huge AJ Styles fan, and I don't necessarily think AJ Styles had the best WrestleMania run recently, so I wanted him to win here to try and fix that, but he didn't. I just can't imagine myself ever going back to watch this match, and that surprises me. Though there were some amazing moments, of course, because they're both super athletic guys, and AJ Styles, I don't mean this to sound mean, but for his age, how the hell does he do it? And he changed the game, and he opened doors, and that's why I affiliate with so much with him. But there's also the nerd side of me where I'm like, let's say that AJ Styles has got 2 more WrestleManias in him. We actually gave one of them to Logan Paul. I'm not sure I can ever process that, but I know a lot of people watch me like Logan Paul, and you're probably over the moon. And again, to use my catchphrase, more power to you. But this is probably the last I'll ever talk about it. So I do think you have to give it a little bit of a it didn't live up to the standards of maybe everything else we saw on there. And who knows why? Sometimes you just don't know. Sometimes you don't just connect with things because that's what stomachs do to us. I kind of had assumed that Becky Lynch was going to be the replacement of Bayley as she teamed with Lyra to take on Liv and Raquel. Liv and Raquel. I do have, again, I say this on all my videos I've done, but my sort of silly point is I don't never like it when a random tag team come together and beat the tag team champions. You have to imagine that Liv and Raquel have been training together, and living together, and working together, and Bayley comes back and teams with someone that she feuded with. So I guess you could argue they have chemistry there, but they become the tag team champions. But when it's this entertaining and you enjoy it, it's also hard to criticize it. And obviously it ends with Lyra hitting a massive move, like a DDT or something, to Raquel Rodriguez outside of the ring. And then Becky Lynch hits a manhandle slam, 1, 2, 3. Obviously, her entrance was a surprise. So she was getting Penta pops. She was getting Dominic pops. She was getting Joe Hendry pops. It was absolutely massive. She looked great, as she always does, and I'm sure the rest had done her a world of good. And it's nice the baby faces got a win over the bad Liv and Raquel, but I just think Liv and Raquel deserve a bit more, as do those women's tag team titles. So we can turn this into a little bit of a feud. Plus, of course, there's a potential that Bayley will now turn on Becky Lynch eventually, because how dare you take my spot? I was only injured 24 hours before, and while I understand it, you can't do this to me, blah, blah, blah. And that will be good. And then you can look back on this match and probably enjoy it more. That happens a lot when you're retroactively seeing something. But I just stick it in the fun category and the entertaining category, and I want to see more of this category. And when it's that, I'm not going to worry about the geek stuff that sometimes crops up in my brain, and go listen to the pops of Becky coming out and then winning. People absolutely loved it. And I do believe the point of wrestling is to mean that you are meant to love it, which is a gibberish sentence, but again, it's like 1 a.m. here, and I'm just so greasy with sun cream on my face. This now slowly sweating off and it's itching my face, which is a crazy information you didn't need to know. Let's just talk about the main event. Maybe some of you even skipped it, which is fine. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. John Cena comes out with just John Cena on black, because he doesn't want to give you anything anymore. He's taking it all away. You're getting nothing. And those 3 words, you get nothing, we're actually going to tie into this match, because I love bad guy John Cena. Now, the crowd did here too. They decided they were going to boo Cody and cheer Cena. I don't think it's an issue. I think a lot of it was done, not ironically, but it's the Mania crowd, and Cena is his last WrestleMania, and he's going for 17, and the heel turn has been super duper fun, so all that's fine. I don't think it's going to affect Cody. I think Cody's going to be fine. I think he's going to win the title back eventually, and allowing John Cena again to strip all these elements back of his very colourful persona, I thought was awesome. But when he got into him beating up Cody Rhodes as the bad guy, he went pure 1986. I'm going to slam you, I'm going to punch you, I'm going to kick you, I'm going to give you a bunch of double axe handles. He did nothing. Because he did nothing, it made it just stand out even bigger. Prop is less is more. Obviously, he understands character work, so he was showing out. He's just a barrel of laughs. And if I get heel John Cena, because he may turn obviously beforehand, depending on what we want to do. But if I get heel John Cena all the way to December, oh my gosh, I'll be doing backflips, and probably Cody will be the one to beat him there as well. It was all the shenanigans towards the end, that this sun cream absolutely drives me crazy, that I think will have. I've seen it on social media. Again, you can't escape it when you're live, because the referee gets bumped, and we made sure we had that visual pin twice over John Cena. Once when the referee was knocked out, and once when a certain somebody pulled the referee out. So that told you John Cena was going to win, but Cody Rhodes would come out and Raw and SmackDown, whatever the hell he's going to be, and make his case. He has to do that. Don't do what he did 2 years ago and just scuffle around it. No, you got screwed, Cody, and you're allowed to say it. But the person that pulled the referee out after, again, we were expecting somebody who was going to come down to help John Cena, was Travis Scott. Now, at first this was fine, or the crowd popped thinking it was The Rock. But if we had done what we'd done at WrestleMania 40, where he comes out, he gets screwed, which he did do, and The Rock comes out to sort it, and he allows John Cena to win, I just think that was the story that we needed. Again, it goes back to this idea of, if you go to see a rom-com, you want to see the 2 partners get together. If the Rock, John Cena is sold to The Rock, you want to see The Rock at WrestleMania. I totally understand why he can't do this sometimes. He has a schedule that is absolutely nuts, and he's probably going to have a bunch of handlers saying, no, you're not allowed to do that, Dwayne Johnson, which, again, what's he going to do? But that doesn't mean you're not allowed to be disappointed as a fan, because by the time John Cena had used everything with Travis Scott, and oh my gosh, the crossroads that Cody Rhodes gave to Travis Scott was hilarious. I mean, just gave him a crossroads. That's all it was. But by the time we were going for the belt shot with John Cena, I thought Cody was going to kick out. It kicked him in the nuts, I should say. Then belt shot, then AA. I thought The Rock was going to come out after Cody's kicked out again to prove that he needs his help. But John Cena just won. Now again, you take this match as it was. I loved it. Heel John Cena, awesome. Babyface Cody Rhodes the best, even though it was flipped. Crowd was into it, super duper pops. Even Travis Scott was fun. And John Cena wearing the belt back to front so you could see the WWE logo as he leaves. Inspired choice. Plus it's number 17 as a heel, which is so damn fun. But then you're left with, I heard people saying it around me too, and I do think we have to factor in everybody's opinions here. Where is The Rock? Why didn't The Rock turn up? Is The Rock going to turn up here? And even if the reason he wasn't able to do it is because he literally could not do it, It just doesn't make sense from a storyline perspective that he would arrive at the Elimination Chamber, be on the SmackDown beforehand, offer all these crazy deals, and then he gets his man, you never hear it again, even though, yes, if WWE, to try and make some sense of it, want to say to John Cena, you get nothing, ... including The Rock, I'll probably take it at this juncture, but it was disappointing. It was upsetting. I totally understand people that throw their eyes to their arms and think that this, I don't want to say it ruined WrestleMania, that's a bit silly. I think whoever did it for you, it did for you. It's such a difficult thing to say because it didn't end as hot as night one. So we went through all those twists and turns with Paul Heyman. And the match portion was excellent. Like Cody and John Cena could work together forever and I'd watch it. And even the Travis Scott stuff was fun. But now knowing what we did get, Travis Scott should have been The Rock. So once again, to go back to that word that starts with a D, disappointing. I think it would have blown the roof off the place. Also, shout out to Stone Cold Steve Austin, who managed to come out in a truck and smash it a couple of times. I hope that person's okay. If she is, it was funny. If she's not, then we need to have another conversation about that. But it needed The Rock. I just say that to the cows come home. We absolutely needed The Rock. We didn't get The Rock. So I think now going into that, if you don't have those expectations, the match will probably be better. But it absolutely was a shame. But I still loved it. I did. Heel John Cena is amazing. Cody Rhodes is the best. I never thought this was going to happen, and John Cena has done it. He's broken the record. As a bad guy, he is the 17th time holder of that WWE title, and there's something awesome about that. So yeah, I am a fan. I can't overly critique it, although there are certain things that we could have changed. But I like where we got to. Again, I'm not going to see a lot of these matches ever again. And yes, The Rock had to be there. I'm shouting it out so that the comments do understand. But there were still elements that I massively enjoyed. So all around, excellent time. Couple of thumbs up. But more importantly, I want to know what you thought about WrestleMania Part 2. So drop me a comment below, like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the video on the screen, which is my review of Night 1, so you can sort of compare and contrast. Otherwise, there'll be a bunch of descriptions down there. Again, it's a hotel edit, so I don't have all my assets with me, so I do apologize. But Gorilla Mind, Patreon, at Simon316 on all social media, Simon Miller on Cameo, Simon J. Miller on TikTok, and Pro Wrestling Tees and Big Cartel for my merch. Just put my name again. You can get the link down there. And let's manifest this. I do care about it. It doesn't have to be a contract, it doesn't have to be a run. It can be a squash match, an enhancement match, whatever you want to call it. Just one major company. You know which ones I'm talking about. They've mostly got 3 letters, and they exist in America. Let's just get something in there and prove that even when watching WrestleMania, you too can be inspired. Appreciate it, my friends. Take care. Enjoy Raw if you are going. And this bald idiot's now going to rest his voice.